single person up here is going to say, I'm going to be tough on Wall Street. I'm going to be tough on Wall Street. And all of us probably will. But the bottom line is when you're talking about reforming Wall Street and Albany, you can't be a Wall Street insider or an Albany insider to do that. We have seen what has happened. When we've had Wall Street insiders who know all the terms and everything that goes on there, trying to reform Wall Street, it doesn't work. And we've seen what people up in Albany saying, well, I can do this, I'm going to make all these changes. It doesn't work. You need an outsider, someone who's been an advocate for their entire career, like I have, a real outsider. I've never been on Wall Street. I'm not a career Albany politician. You can't reform the system if you are a part of the problem. When the system is broken, the people who are helping break it are not part of the solution. And this is the tough talk that we have to hear. This is what we all want. This is what we all need. Whether we're an investor, we're a voter, we are a regular person on the street, we want to know that every time we turn around, the people who are supposed to be taking care of us are not taking advantage of us. That's the bottom line.
Thank you. Mr. Coffey?
Well, I think we all agree that the next AG is going to have a very, very active role with regard to Wall Street. And to be an effective role, you have to understand Wall Street. It's complicated. If you're going to be the cop on that beat, you ought to know the beat, you ought to know the neighborhood, you ought to know where the bodies are buried, and you ought to know their tricks. I know those tricks. And the notion that anyone would group me in with folks who are Wall Street insiders is nutty. I have fought those guys for 11 years. Bloomberg Markets Magazine designated me as Wall Street's new nemesis.
Now, I will take the remaining 60 seconds to comment on this question of inside versus outside. Ms. Rice is, if nothing else, very articulate about how Andrew Cuomo and Eric and I are not fit to serve because we're insiders. It is a very dangerous argument to make in a state where most of the incumbents are Democrats. It is a stereotype, and I don't like it. I want to be judged for what I've done. If Ms. Rice thinks that I have been ineffective, I would welcome the opportunity to hear that. She and I have differences. She opposed the Rockefeller drug law reforms. I supported it for years. That's an honorable thing for someone to do. We should be able to disagree without calling each other names. Mr. Coffey is apparently half an insider in the Rice View group. He doesn't like to be half an insider. He wants to be all of it. Look, this is about the exercise of power by elected officials in the name of the people of the state. And that is a question of character, temperament, record, and vision. You may like someone else's those things up here. There may be someone better than me in your judgment. But if the Democratic primary turns into this throw the bums out, we already have a Tea Party. And we don't need one of this.
Now, I just have to address a complete falsehood that was just said about me being opposed to the Rockefeller drug laws. Not only did I support them, but I was actually doing diversionary programs similar to what the reform of the Rockefeller drug laws achieved 2 years before the Rockefeller drug laws were ever reformed. I didn't just talk about it. I was actually doing it in Nassau County. And it was a program where we didn't even saddle people with an arrest. It was a second chance program because we all know how hard it is to go out and get a job once you have a conviction. This program of mine was a diversionary program that kept people from going to jail in the first place. That is how you help people. That is how you turn communities around. And I was doing this 2 years before the reform of the Rockefeller drug laws, which of course, obviously I supported.
With respect to the interesting disagreement that Ms. Rice and I are having, if anybody wants to see the letter with Ms. Rice's name on it opposing the Rockefeller reforms, I got it in the room. She did a very good job on the diversionary program. She's right, and she deserves credit for that. The part she opposed was the part giving judges, rather than DAs, the ability, in effect, to determine the sentence. She didn't take a dishonorable position. She's a fine person. We disagree.